And yeah, would you like to kick us off?
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the March meeting of the Colorado Board of State Land Commissioners. And today is our workshop here in Denver on greenhouse gas emissions. We're looking forward to a robust discussion amongst the commissioners after the staff presents their report. I'd like to note that all the commissioners are in attendance with Commissioner Harvey by Zoom. Hello, Commissioner. Good to see you. And since this is a more informal part of our meeting schedule, what we're going to do is we don't take any public comment. We welcome the public to listen, but we don't take comment during our workshop sessions. What we're going to do first, however, is have our second virtual county commissioner roundtable, where we hope to hear from all of you locally. And I know our director has some prepared remarks and a few new dimensions to the roundtable content. So with that, you want to take it away?
Folks watching along online, I realized that just as we went live on the meeting, one of our cameras died. So we've got a choppy video signal with the remaining camera. It should allow us to show you things like our slide deck and our map server eventually. But we do know that the video is a little choppy. I think the audio is good. If anybody wants to give me a thumbs up that the audio is good. See lots of thumbs.
Great.
That's great. So it's going to be the best experience we can offer for the moment. So bear with us, but thank you.
Wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Nicole Rosarino. I'm the director of the Colorado State Land Board. And I want to give a special shout out to Callie Flanagan from Colorado Counties Incorporated for helping us to really make these roundtables more robust. Really appreciate you getting the word out, Kelly, and yourself taking the time to attend, and appreciate everybody taking time out of your schedules to attend. As Chair Pearl mentioned, our second virtual county roundtable. We are also partnering with Colorado Municipal League and hope to see municipal governments more and more participating in these. So we're going to have to come up with a new name for our roundtable, but that's a good thing. I wanted to mention we have several very capable staff folks in the room. Other leadership includes Deputy Director Nick Massey, who you've already heard from, as well as Assistant Directors Elliot Hoyt and Chris Smith. We have 6 district offices located throughout the state. So oftentimes the staff in those district offices are going to be your first line of contact, but please feel free to reach out to any of us as well as the district staff. This year, our agency will travel around the state for 4 of our 12 monthly board meetings. And this gives us an opportunity to meet in person, usually over a meal, with county and municipal representatives and other partners. And we really love these opportunities to reinforce those lines of communication and hear what is going on in your communities. But as we mentioned, we're now implementing virtual roundtables, and the idea is that those will complement, not replace the in-person roundtables. The virtual will really enable us to reach more of you throughout more of the year. So it's very exciting to us. We've had a very positive response to our first one. So we're doing it again. And our plan is actually to have a third one for the year in November, but stay tuned for that. I'm going to spend a few minutes giving an overview of the State Land Board, working through our history and our mission, how we generate revenues, and the benefits that provides for the state of Colorado. For those of you who attended our January roundtable or a previous one, know that I've shortened the presentation because I wanted to try something new, which is to give you a demo of our online map server, which is available 24/7, and really to equip you with a tool that can provide more insight for your communities to see where our state trust lands lie and what uses they're being leased for. And then the remainder of our time, I really look forward to hearing questions from you all. All right, so starting with our history, this year we will celebrate our sesquicentennial, our 150th anniversary, along with the state of Colorado, but our roots actually go back further to the very founding of the country, where the founders had the idea that the key to a functional democracy is an educated citizenry. So the practice began of reserving lands for each state to support public schools. By the time the federal government got around to us, Colorado was provided with sections 16 and 36 in every township. And those are referred to as school sections because they are meant to support the public schools. Fast forward to now, this is our portfolio of 2.8 million surface acres. You'll notice that checkerboard pattern on the eastern slope, and that reflects those sections 16 and 36. But not every section 16 and 36 of every township was available at statehood. And so the federal government, and we have been working to address that gap through the conveyance of what are called in lieu lands to the State Land Board. Our portfolio makes us the second largest landowner in the state. You'll notice that there are it's an imperfect checkerboard even on the Eastern Plains, and that's because we can acquire and dispose of property. Turning to our mineral estate, this is much larger at 4 million acres, and there's a reason for that. When we convey land to anybody but the federal government, we retain the minerals, and we're required to do so by both federal and state law. That turns out to be very important, as 5.2% of our mineral estate generated 84% of our income in FY25, primarily from oil and gas. That also leaves us in a vulnerable position because it makes our revenue very dependent on the price of those commodities. And so, as I'll talk about later, we're working hard to diversify our income. Turning to the whole trust, it's currently valued at over $6 billion. And the biggest parts of this are our land. Over half of the value lies in the land. And then I wanted to direct your attention to that blue wedge, which is our permanent fund or public school fund. That is managed by the treasurer, but generates income also to support schools. The other wedges include our mineral estate at $1 billion, and then additional assets in water and commercial real estate. This is an excerpt from our current strategic plan. You can see our mission of managing an endowment of assets held in perpetual intergenerational public trust for the financial support of public schools and other public institutions. We regard the second tier as really the principal pillars of our mission. They came to us through Amendment 16, which was passed by the voters of Colorado in 1996 and moved from a maximizing revenue perspective to the requirement that we generate reasonable and consistent income over time. And we do that in ways that protect and enhance long-term productivity and sound stewardship of trust lands. So really important shift there in 1996. And then you can see our vision really reflects a focus on the modernization of all Colorado public schools. I would note that we are in the process of developing a new strategic plan. So this conversation is really timely. We want to hear what's on your mind in terms of the State Land Board. Amendment 16 was also really important for putting a laser focus on stewardship. It created or required the creation of the Stewardship Trust, in which we must maintain 295,000 acres to 300,000 acres at all times. The parcels that are designated into that trust are done so to protect particular natural values, and then they're managed to protect those values. But our stewardship activities do not end with the Stewardship Trust. They go across our entire portfolio of land and all 12 lines of business. I'll give you a couple examples. One is stewardship action plans that we adopt for particular species or habitats to really elevate the conservation of those resources, as well as in our lease stipulations. And an example is in our oil and gas line of business, when we put parcels out for auction, for leasing, every single parcel has at least one stipulation designed to protect the natural values on that parcel. So stewardship is always front and center here at State Land Board. Turning to our leasing types, there are 12 lines of business. I've mentioned oil and gas because of the very important financial revenues that flow to the State Land Board from that activity. Also really central is agriculture. 96% of our land is leased for agriculture. I want to mention some of the ways we're working to diversify revenue. As I noted earlier, that's really important. Has been for several years. We're really focused on that right now. Renewable energy, we see a lot of opportunities. 10% of the state's renewable energy capacity is on state trust lands. In addition, ecosystem services, such as wetlands, mitigation banking, and species conservation projects, as well as biological and geological carbon sequestration, are just a few examples of how we're working to diversify our revenue. We are also looking at different ways to diversify our recreational leasing opportunities. And this brings up the issue of access. And this is where our partnerships with you all at the local and county level are really critical. Our lands are different from typical public lands. They are held in trust for a very specific purpose to support public schools. So you all can help us to communicate that externally. That said, there are recreational leases in place on a substantial amount of our acreage. We have 450 private recreation leases, in addition to one lease with Colorado Parks and Wildlife that covers 965,000 acres under the Hunting and Fishing Access Program. Our relationship with Colorado Parks and Wildlife is crucial, as is our relationship with all of you. Turning to regulatory authority, the short story is we have none. We certainly have authority to lease our lands, and we take that duty very seriously. It's very centrally linked with our fiduciary obligations to our beneficiaries. But unlike some of our other sister agencies within the Department of Natural Resources, of which we are a division, we are not a regulator. And so that's really critical to understand that when we lease land, it doesn't exempt our lessees from following pertinent federal, state, and local regulations. Our relationship with you all is really critical for our long-term success and for the benefits we can provide to our beneficiaries. I mentioned that our lessees do need to follow local land use regulations, as do we. There are opportunities for us to have really fruitful partnerships, and one example is if you are rezoning or creating a growth plan and that involves state trust lands, please contact us. We look forward to working together for good outcomes. Speaking of good outcomes, we are incredibly proud to be a primary funder for the Building Excellent Schools Today, or BEST program, which is the capital construction arm of Colorado Department of Education. Altogether, since 2008, State Land Board contributions to BEST have totaled over $1.4 billion, thereby enabling over $3 billion in projects. This is an example. It's the Mountain Song Community School in Colorado Springs, which was the recipient of a BEST, actually multiple BEST grants to make improvements to the campus. Statewide, our fiscal year 25 lease revenue from 7,750 leases in place amounted to $257 million. $171 million flowed to public schools last year. We're really proud of this work that we do and the impact we have, and look forward to working together with you all to make the future brighter for current and future generations of Colorado school kids. With that, I'd love to turn to the map demo that I promised, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Just a second.
One moment, I'll pick that up.
Ready to go.
Okay,
Oh, we get rid of this one.
thank you. Nick, okay, so if you go to our website and go to the heading of maps, you can click on this interactive map. Now the landing page itself has some really helpful information, including what leases you can download from the system, and there are quite a few, but not all. It's like I said, over 7,000 leases. It's pretty late. But this is the map. Let's see. The entire state, the inclusive of the entire state. So this is what it looks like when there's just a few layers, but principally take away that layer. You can see, you can choose the layers depending on what your interest is. But that blue layer is the surface ownership. And so that's really helpful in seeing where our lands are. Just to click that. But I'm sure you want to go more in depth. So we're going to go. Can't see this great, but we're going to go to Pueblo County and see what we have going on in terms of renewable energy production. As I mentioned, that's a focus. So there, that lights up the Thunder Wolf project. You might not have known that's what that was, but if you click on it, any parcel, you then click on the drop-down menu, and there you can actually download the lease. And I'll do that again so you can see how that worked. But you can see there's the lease, there's lease extension, lease amendment. You can download it and you get the lease for that project. And that lease in place. I'm having trouble next seeing the tabs.
Go.
If you close out of that.
Back down.
Yes, please, thanks. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so that's one thing you can, and you can just look around, see what you see. But really, if you're looking on a county perspective, obviously you can go to that county and zoom in or zoom out as appropriate, but you can actually get that lease. And for other parcels, just know what types of leases are in place. So let's go to agriculture. You can see there's a lot of leases for agriculture. Like I said, 96%. So there you can see there's an agriculture lease in place. We do not have all of our agriculture leases available for download, but you can file an information request for those. Another thing I wanted to mention is that you can change the base map. So right now it's in topo, you can change it to satellite imagery and really look around the neighborhood. So going back to the layers, again, this is really the starting point with all the layers that you can turn on and off depending on what you're interested in. There are layers created that are industry facing. So if you're interested in renewable energy, you can click on the wind speed and see where the best of the best opportunities are in Colorado. And it should come as no surprise that the well, it's not really running out. Yeah, the Eastern Plains really comes up prominently for that. Okay, at any time it might get too busy, just turn off that layer. And then we're going to show how to actually integrate other layers from the web. This is a really nice tool. So you have all these preloaded layers that you can choose from, but you can also go to add a layer and I was interested in poking around on this and interested in this regional biodiversity value layer. We can add that and see the TNC created layer for biodiversity value. If you can't really tell what's what, you can click here to look at the legend and figure out what exactly you're looking at. And then that got a little busy, so we're going to go ahead and remove that layer and zoom out. So when we send you an email follow-up to this roundtable, we'll include information about this, so you don't have to remember everything you just heard, but it's really is, the idea is to get more folks, especially yourselves, using this tool so you know where the land is, what leases are in place, and what opportunities you might see for partnerships and additional leases. So with that, I'd like to draw that part to a close and see the screen so we can see your faces. And really would love to open it up to questions. Some of you submitted questions in advance. Thank you. But really, any question that's on your mind, any comment, or this is a chance to dialogue. If you would, before you speak, raise your hand and then introduce yourself in your capacity with your county or local government. Next step is raising your hand. All right. Thanks, Tony. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having us here again. I'm curious on these the green energy development. Are you utilizing agrivoltaics on any of those? I hate to see agriculture taken out of the equation.
Well, so I know you're Commissioner Haas, right?
I am, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
no
Los
worries.
Animas County Commissioner Tony Haas.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Haas. So we are working to implement agrivoltaics projects. We actually participated at the Colorado Agrivoltaic Conference just a couple weeks ago. Had a whole contingent of our staff there. I presented on our interest really in deploying more agrivoltaics. So I'm glad you asked the question. Commissioner Haas, we see a lot of opportunities for ag uses and renewable energy uses to work really well together. We already see it in the wind energy context, but more and more we're trying to create opportunities in the solar energy context as well.
Many of our small rural counties and communities are driven by ag, and primarily there's your dry land farming and grazing. And I'd hate to see our main streets dry up because we eliminated ag and put green energy in there instead.
We're right there with you, Commissioner Haas, and really see agrivoltaics as a win-win solution.
Do you have some in Los Alamos County?
Not really.
No, we don't. This is Christopher Smith, Assistant Director for Energy Innovation. We currently only have one utility scale solar farm on our land, and that's the Thunderwolf project in Pueblo County. We have a number of solar gardens that are roughly 15 acres, but none in Los Angeles County.
Thanks, Chris. I was actually asking Commissioner Haas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have, in Los Alamos County, do you have some agrivoltaics?
We don't at this time. We're working on our land use codes, and there may be a time when we adopt a measure that would require that it be agrivoltaics so that our ag doesn't disappear. Multi-use is always the better way to go, I believe.
Commissioner Heath. Multi-use is the secret to our success here at the State Land Board. We're very much in favor of layered leasing. So thanks for your comment, Commissioner Haas. Stay tuned. We really hope to bring one or more projects online in the short term. And we can see opportunities shape in the long term. Thank you. Who's next? Just raise your hand to Zoom.
Well, if
back,
nobody else is
Commissioner.
gonna do it, I'm not above not asking questions, so you made a comment earlier, Ms. Rosemariano, about the focus was really on the 96%, I believe was the statistic of ag leased by, and the focus was really there. Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Sure, Commissioner Haas. I was saying agriculture is central at the State Land Board, and that is by far our most extensive land use. I think that 12 lines of business slide was talking about ways to diversify revenue, and the examples I used were ecosystem services, renewables, and actually recreation is where we're seeing wonderful opportunities to really increase and expand our streams of revenue. So.
And I hope we can look at what's happening on BLM and some of those federal lands where there's recreation and ag at the same time and avert some of those issues before they happen. For instance, if there's complaining about, say, cow refuse on a hiking trail and that sort of thing. I'm always going to be advocating for ag in our small rural communities. So there you go.
I understand, Commissioner Haas. And I think of relevance is a current work group that was formed from a law passed last year. It's the State Trust Lands Conservation and Recreation Work Group. And that's about, say, 20-ish individuals representing different sectors, including agriculture, recreation, wildlife, oil and gas, renewable energy, most anything that the State Land Board is involved in. And what you're putting your finger on is one of the principal issues that they're looking at, is how to better ensure that these different uses of state trust lands work together and are cited properly. So absolutely, that's very top of mind right now.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, Commissioner Wood, thank you for diversifying the questioner.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, Chaffee County Commissioner P.T. Wood, and thanks for having us. Thanks for this discussion. We put in our parcels of priority. I think that's what they were called. The ones that we care a lot about conservation on. And I know that the deadline's the 25th. Can you kind of touch on what that process is going to look like after submittal and maybe some expected outcomes?
Sure, Commissioner Wood, and thank you for putting in your nomination through that work group process. That is something that we'll be taking up at our future meetings, and we have 4 more meetings of the work group. And what you submitted will be considered by the work group itself. And to be clear, none of State Land Board staff is on that work group. I'm a technical advisor. There are other agencies that are technical advisors, but the work group really is tasked with coming up with recommendations on conservation, climate resilience, low conflict recreation, as well as biodiversity, that will then be submitted to the legislature, the governor, to our agency, to Department of Natural Resources, and then we will bring those recommendations, and that's due September 1st, to our board to consider how to change policies or take steps to integrate those recommendations into our work. So your nominations are really key on figuring out what opportunities there are to elevate these 4 uses. It's really conservation, recreation, climate resilience, and biodiversity on certain parcels that are particularly low-hanging fruit for opportunities there. So thanks for getting that information, and we'll circle back to you during the process, I'm sure. But like I said, there's 4 meetings to go. The next one's in April, and really glad that you got those submitted. And that was part of the reasoning for that March 25th deadline, is so we would have something to take up at that April meeting. Anything, Deputy Director Nick Massey has really been on the lead on that work group for us in terms of support. Anything you'd add?
Commissioner Wood, it's a great question to raise for the couple of folks on the call that might not know what we're talking about. DNR and State Land Board staff made presentations to county and municipal representatives, encouraging part of the law to nominate parcels that are good opportunities to activate parts of local planning for things that you'd like to see it happen in your community. And those submissions are being accepted through a digital form that's being managed by DNR. But to your question, it does raise a nice flag to say, hey, as that process of what happens next with those nominations is clarified, please let the nominators know. So we'll definitely relay that and make sure that's part of our conversations and planning over the next couple of weeks. And so you'll get something back from us with clarity as soon as.
Well, thanks for involving us in that process and moving this forward. And we do really appreciate our partnership with the State Land Board. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner, and thanks, Nick. That's really helpful. Other questions or comments? Observations? Well, Wayne, please. Thank you.
It's Wayne Ewing here, Lincoln County Commissioner. I want to thank you so much for what you're doing, like with the BEST grants and improving our schools out here. But there has been times when, by the time they started the project, the school's already outgrown the plan. So I don't know if there's any way that they can increase that and help those schools out or not. It hasn't happened in Lincoln County, but surrounding counties, I've seen it happen. And just unfortunate those schools already, new schools are overcrowded. So, and then also years ago, I helped some friends gather some cattle in Swatch County, and the Colorado Trail was actually on the Coachstone side, I believe, and there was the Colorado Trail was there. And you stop and look at some of the comments, and they called them the cow pie trails instead of the Colorado Trail. And they were complaining about that. So we need to educate the public, especially those outdoorsmen, and that trail is there because of the leases. And so they just need to be educated, and so they'd be thankful for it instead of complaining about it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Excuse me. Ask an individual to identify himself, please.
So Commissioner Wayne Ewing from Lincoln County was just speaking. Thank you, Commissioner Ewing. We work hard to generate revenue for BEST for the exact reason that you point to. There's a real need. So thank you for your appreciation of the BEST program. We don't administer those grants. Our revenue simply flows to either school finance or the BEST program. But I understand there's a real need there. And your comment about the cow pie trail, I do think, as I mentioned to Commissioner Haas, that will be the source of some conversation in that recreation and conservation work group that I mentioned. So thank you for mentioning the issue. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'd like to build on that. This is Deborah Froban, the chair of the board, and a couple of you now have mentioned sort of the topic of recreation and the intersection with public lands as well as with state land board lands. And really, I'd like to throw it open to all of you on the screen, as it were, out there. if there are anything's top of mind, any issues in this realm that would help us as we evaluate building that line of business, as we call it, and being aware of some of the things that you're dealing with, in your counties around this subject of recreation on these various land types.
All right, Commissioner Wood, you're back.
P.T. Wood County, Chaffey County Commissioner. I think our Maxwell Park is leased out to CPW and mainly as a hunting lease. And we do really appreciate those hunting leases. Most of your land in our valley is down at the bottom, which is mostly private. So those are some of the very few opportunities for hunting in the valley bottom, and so we do appreciate that. There is some trail use, I think, through Droney Gulch and in that area. Again, those spots are all important because of the location of most of your lands being across the bottom of our valley. So I don't know if there's an answer or a question there, but we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Wood. Other thoughts on the question raised by the chair about where you're seeing recreational opportunities or challenges?
Maybe if I may, Director, I have one more sort of general question for all of you to maybe reflect on, or if you don't have anything that you want to say right at the moment. But as we're really excited about adding the virtual roundtable, if you will, to the activities of outreach we've been doing historically. And it would be really great today. We experimented with, showing just a little bit of how the map function works, thinking that would be useful to you. But I would really encourage and welcome and appreciate, on behalf of the State Land Board, any ideas you have for how to make these roundtables even more meaningful and helpful to you all in exercising the responsibilities you all have in your communities. Because we learn a lot from them, and we also hope that it stimulates your thinking and helps you bring issues and opportunities up for us that we can engage with. I guess they get direct emails to you, Director, for any ideas for future roundtables too.
Absolutely, that would be great.
So, Madam Chair, I'd be interested in hearing from folks on the call just what they are seeing as the biggest issues they're facing right now in their county.
I agree.
Quick hand up from Terry Hoffmeister.
Terry. Hello.
Yes. Commissioner Hoffmeister, Phillips County. I did send in, so you may have it there, a question from one of my constituents. In Phillips County, Sedgwick County, up in the northeast corner, right now it looks like the equation you use to evaluate the lease, what the lease cost is going to be on irrigated ground, you're still going off of $8 corn, which, as we know, corn's $4 or less, and he's paying less for lease, irrigated lease ground from the private individual and not having to own the pivot or do the maintenance on it as he is with the state ground. Like he said, he doesn't want to make too big a deal out of it because he doesn't want to lose the state ground, but yet, is there a reason why that's not gone down?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Hoffmeister. I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Director Elliot Hoyt.
Yes, thank you. Elliot Hoyt, Assistant Director, Sustainability and Working Lands, the agriculture or field operations, as we call it, team reports through me. So happy to take that question, Commissioner. There are a couple of factors going on here. So for our crop rates, we use, as you pointed out, we use a corn commodity price, but we use a 5-year rolling average. When we set those crop rates and we communicated our intentions and spoke to stakeholders and had discussions, there was a feeling, the feedback we got is that by smoothing out the highs and lows of commodity pricing, that was preferable for our lessees to be able to predict and project, rates of change. And frankly, for us too, that, we don't want to see, big swings in the revenue coming to us. So the result of that is when you have a rolling average, there are times when the commodity prices are higher than your rate, and so your lease is lower than what maybe the local market is, and there are times when it's the other way around. This is a particular case where we've gone for high corn prices to low corn prices, if you pointed out, and so we're lagging that a little bit with that curve. So that's one of the factors that you're looking at there.
I would agree with you. I do believe you are lagging because corn prices have been down for at least the last 3 years. It was $8 probably 5 years ago, but I would think if you averaged all of them, it would be less than that. But I don't have the figures in front of me. You do, so I'll report back to him as to what it is. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffmeister. Commissioner Wood.
Thanks. Yeah, PT Wood, Chaffey County once again. And I don't know if this is a problem or an issue or just more of a heads up. I think it's something that
We got the message
working on with Representative Pedersen and Senator Hickenlooper to get the Browns Canyon Wilderness Study Area made permanent. And with that, we're looking at a slight extension to the south that would touch on, butt up against one of your parcels there near Railroad Gulch. So more to come, I'm sure. We'll keep you guys in the loop on that, but we think it's going to be a good thing to do.
Thanks, Commissioner Wood. Yes, please keep us in the loop. Sounds great. The questions? Commissioner Ewing.
Yes, back to Terry's question. I'm about to lose battery here, so I might lose it here. But how often do you check on the averages of the corn, like corn prices or any of the commodity prices? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elliot Hoyt again. That's an annual update that we check on those prices, and we set the rates. We also, just for folks who are in the grazing business, we have the board recently approved that we shift our grazing rates to that same kind of model where on an annual basis we check commodity prices, reset the grazing rate. But in the resetting of it, again, we're plugging into that formula. For grazing, we have a 3-year rolling average, and for crop, we have a 5-year rolling average. And again, came to those conclusions through stakeholder engagement and feedback from lessees.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, Mike near Yuma County. Along those same lines, how do you set or negotiate your rates for renewable energy leases?
Sure, yeah.
For the question.
Yeah, I can answer.
You said Yuma County. Are you a county commissioner?
Yes, Yuma County Commissioner, District 3.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you, Commissioner. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to turn that over to Assistant Director Chris Smith.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. This is Christopher Smith, the Assistant Director for Energy Innovation. Our renewable energy business currently composes of solar and wind. For wind, we charge by the megawatt of installed capacity, and then we true it up by looking at what the lessee is earning, or what they're selling the power for on a per megawatt hour basis. For solar energy, we charge on a per acre basis. With both of those, we look to the market, if, as it were. In the case of wind, we have most favored nation clauses, so we are typically getting what others in the neighborhood are getting on a per megawatt basis. And for solar, it's the same thing, but often it's less landowners in the project.
So you're able to get the information on what other landowners are getting paid, because that seems to be a very tightly held secret, at least out here.
Yeah, we're able to get what the highest rate that was negotiated by the developer. We don't get any more information than that. We don't know who it is or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Wood.
Yeah, hey, sorry, I love your map. I've been using it for a while, and actually, I learned a lot about it today from you, so thank you. And looking at it again, I think one other piece that we have that's going to be a little bit of a colorful conversation all the way around will be the Tiger Lily Creek lease. I know we've heard some grumblings from the Forest Service and other folks that have property around there about that, the camping outfit that's looking at leasing that. So again, not sure there's a question, just a heads up.
Thanks, Commissioner Wood. I believe we are aware of that situation. Anything you wanted to share on that?
Yeah, thank you. Again, Elliot Hoyt, Assistant Director. Commissioner Wood, we've had conversations with Forest Service and we believe that, we actually have, talked through some of what the concerns were that had been mentioned in a public meeting. So definitely heard loud and clear that folks were interested in this. For the board, this is a planning lease for recreation, camping, a higher end camping. The Ramble is the company which you all visited one of their properties down by the sand dunes. So they're going through the process of applying to the county for permission to do this and getting public comment. Forest Service made some comments. We reached back out to the Forest Service to understand where that was coming from. There are also neighbors who have expressed some interest, concerns, so forth. We've been reaching out to them. So hopefully the public process is doing what it needs to do, which is that people can raise concerns. We can address them. Ramble is the lead on that, so they need to answer questions that are being presented about what the operation is. But absolutely, if there are other, we need to come and sit down and have a conversation. Happy to do that. But I think the process is working the way it needs to. But would appreciate you bringing it up. And if there's anything else that you hear that needs to get resolved or doesn't seem like it's being addressed properly, we're happy to engage with that.
Yeah, again, I think it's working. The process is working, and I think the communication that we've had with the state land board has certainly helped smooth all of that. So we do appreciate it.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
I'm going to take an opportunity to do something I should have done at the outset, which is introduce our commissioners. So you've heard from Chair Deb Frobe. Commissioner Frobe is in the Natural Resources seat. We have particular backgrounds that are required by statute, but each of our commissioners needs to make decisions that are in the interest of our beneficiaries. Chair Frobe is in the Natural Resources seat. Then I'm looking at Commissioner Josie Heath, who's in the Local Government seat. And Commissioner Jim Purple is in the at-large seat. And then online, we have Commissioner Mark Harvey, who's in the Agricultural Production seat. And she stepped out for a moment, but Commissioner Scanlon is in the Education seat. So.
And I spent 8 years as county commissioner, so I appreciate the issues you all are dealing with. And I especially thank you for taking the time today to give us your thoughts.
Any other questions or issues that are really top of mind in your communities? Okay, well, you can always reach out to us, jump on our website, get in touch again with any of the staff that I've introduced or with your district office staff. I really look forward to sustained communication on all sorts of different partnerships or places that you want to sort of raise our awareness of concerns. Commissioner Scanlon, I introduced you in your absence, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Your moment.
Okay, well, with that, we look forward to seeing you at the next one, either virtual or maybe in person in your communities. So thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.